You're watching and listening to Conscious Evolution Media, shifting global consciousness at consciousevolutionmedia.com.
Are you in the entertainment industry? If you answered yes and you want to promote yourself, your passion, and profession, check out Creative Independent Artist magazines at CIAartists.com, endorsed by Kids Talk Foundation worldwide. Today's podcast is brought to you by Kids Talk Foundation, a global nonprofit organization providing youth advocacy, television programming, and training services in the United States, along with comprehensive medical and educational services for the developing world, most recently in Kenya, Africa, where Kids Talk Foundation provides a feeding program, medical care, and educational services to over 1,300 young people each day. Please help our youth and place your donation. Go to www.kidstalk.org.
Welcome to the Mind, Body, and Soul Show on Real Coaching Radio Network. How would you like to attempt to demystify with us the realms of the mind, body, and soul to bring you a more holistic and balanced way of living? Healthier in all realms of the psyche, the spirit, and the body. Here is your host and executive producer, Coach Steve Toth.
Welcome everybody to the Mind, Body, and Soul Show on Conscious Evolution Media. I'm your host and also founder of the network, and today it is my pleasure to introduce Jeni Cousins. She's joining us from Canada, and Jeni is a soul worker.
As best as I can be.
She minds the soul. So we're going to be, of course, talking about that for the entire hour. But before we do, I'm sure, Jeni, that people have called you a lot of different names and titles in your lifetime.
Yes.
So if I took all of them away, what's left? Who is Jeni Cousins, like, really?
Well, I do have some people calling me psychic, and I don't like that term, for instance. When I speak with somebody or share some time with somebody, I like to be able to look at them from within, who they truly are, and what their journey is truly are about here on Earth. So even the name of my website, Soul Work with Jeni, I wanted it to have that name to represent completely who I am in all levels, because it's the soul that is on the journey on this lifetime.
Okay, got it. All right, so it's beautiful here today in Denver, Colorado, which is where our internet TV studio is. It's actually 44 degrees, which is a huge change from the 20s and the -4s.
Well, we have it here in the winter even up to -49. So,
wow.
Their -4 is, I tell you, people would be wearing shorts and jumping for joy.
I'm not going to be living there.
No,
right, so
I only
let's talk
recommend
about,
coming in the summer.
Yeah, let's talk about some of your favorite subjects and themes, I'm sure, which is past lives.
Yes.
And the Akashic Records. I of course, had a number of people here on the network as guests,
right,
that have talked about this subject, but I find that we always get a different perspective.
Yes.
Because we're all different.
Right.
So would you be willing to explain to our viewers, what do you mean by past lives?
Well, past lives is when this isn't the first time you've been here on Earth. Right, and past lives is different reincarnations we've had in other lifetimes. We could be either male, female, we all have different positions. And past life, for instance, I recommend that highly, because a lot of the things that are happening to people right now in this lifetime, it's because of past lifetimes they've come back this lifetime to resolve past karmic issues with people, events, in all different areas in your lifetime. So, I mean, if you meet somebody that immediately you feel a connection with, it's a lot of the times it's usually because you've known them from a past life. Because I've had people say, oh, I've just met somebody and, you know, they're the person of my dreams, or I just felt really connected with them, and there's many reasons behind that. So it's to mix in a combination from, you know, what journey or soul is here to resolve issues is so important. So important.
That happens to me daily, Jeni.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. With you having the radio network, you're speaking to all different types of people.
Yeah, and I prefer to really, my preference is that we talk about it as in a television network. We're not really a radio network. Huge distinction.
Right.
All right. So now the Akashic Records.
Yes.
Would you be willing to explain that as well? What is it?
It's the same thing, really. Akashic Records, past life. I mean, there's a lot of different spiritual terms that some people would understand, and there's a lot of terms that they wouldn't. So that's why I put past life / Akashic Records. Akashic Records are who you were in past lives before, what energy you were. It's all the same thing, all the same meaning. But I put both of the names up there so people will, you know, get a better understanding of what it truly represents.
Mm-hmm. And who has access to these records?
Well, we all do, really. It's whether or not we truly want to, you know, take the time to, you know, listen to our souls speak. A lot of people, you know, it depends on the person, mind you. Whenever your intuition is trying to tell you something, you know, either we're going to listen to it or we're not. And you might find that, you know, some people say, you know, I've been here before in this country, or, you know, in this place or city, and it's like, why do I feel like I've been there? So we all can tap into our intuition and hear our soul speak. So that's why, you know, I inform a lot of people it's so important to have that alone time, regardless how busy our schedules can be. Even if it's for 5-10 minutes, the more time the better, to be honest. But we have to have that break to really hear what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Do you have the ability, Jeni, to access other people's Akashic Records? Yes,
I do. I do past life readings, and it's a combination of, you know, mixing everything into one session, really. And that way, you know, I'll inform somebody, okay, this is why this person has come into your life at this time. This is why these things keep on happening to you. You know, and I also tell them, you know, this is what I see that's happened to you in a past life, on all different areas, so that way they're like, oh, okay, that sounds familiar. That's why I'm so drawn to, you know, that culture, that religion, that music, that country, or this person, or a different type of career, even.
Got you. And how did you develop this ability?
Well, I've always had it, and when I was younger, I just thought automatically everybody had the ability. I mean, I can even remember when I was 4 years old, and I started seeing a lot of different, you know, angels and spirits and beings of all sorts, and I just thought everybody could see it. So as I got older, I realized that, okay, nobody is seeing what I'm seeing. And then my neighbor at the time, he happened to be like a guru. He did, you know, a lot of readings and soul work with people, and he just told me one day, you know, he looked at me, and it actually freaked me out, because he looked right at me, and I felt, oh my God, this guy is like looking at me right through my whole soul, my whole body. And he said a couple of things to me that I'm like, oh my God, how did you know that? So then actually I sat down with him, and he told me this is why this is happening. And he suggested for me to start, you know, reading different types of books, or, you know, getting involved, you know, with this or that. So I realistically started my studies way back when I was 14. And wow. it just, lots of things started happening back then. So would you be willing to share with our viewers what were some of your challenges as you being
going through your journey to get to where you are today? And really, where are you today?
Well, I'm one step forward, as I call it. You know, I live for the moment. I live for the now, because you could be 90 years old. You know, you could be 10 years old. You don't know where you're going to go from one minute to the next, right? And I just keep things going. And there's been so many different events that's happened to me throughout my lifetime. And I didn't understand for a long time what was really going on, because it was just one traumatic event after the other. It's been a very painful lifetime for me, but then I understand and come to terms with, okay, this is why this has happened, this is why this has happened. I've had near-death experiences. I've been through hell. I've been through, you know, joy of all different areas. So I get reality checks, and, you know, and then when I do, I thank Spirit for it, because it's a message that they're trying to tell me. I mean, before, for instance, I was moving to Ireland, and I knew it wasn't the right thing to do, and I wasn't listening to myself. But, you know, a lot of people were telling me it's just your fears about everything, and I thought, well, maybe it is me, because I can't see my own future. So to make a long story short, the universe flattened me on the ground so I couldn't walk any longer. And I still, of course, didn't listen to that. So I went over to Ireland anyways, and I paid the price severely. And I learned and understood, okay, why. And it really even taught me more. It's so important to listen to your own guidance, your own soul speak, regardless of what anybody has to say. So there's been physical, you know, problems Spirit's given me that, you know, it's been a real awakening in all areas. It's been so many different things with family and friends that I've had to clear karmically to move on forward in my lifetime. I mean, it's everything really that I've done. And when I have something happen to me, or when I meet somebody, for instance, I take a look at, and I can see who I was in many lifetimes. And then I realize, okay, this is why I met this person. And this is why I had to go through this journey, regardless if it was good or not.
So a lot of people I know that are watching on the network right now, and I want to welcome back Sky Blue and Block DD and Deb. So thank you for coming back. And I know, just because I've been doing this for the 9th year, a lot of people will say, okay, so this is like woo-woo stuff.
Right.
This is like what people do in San Francisco and in Boulder. This is the tree hugging conversation. So I would that. For the sake of the viewers, let's put it to the test, if you don't mind. And I understand that you are a clairvoyant, intuitive, spiritual reader. So would you be willing to do a reading for me on the air, so we can put all those doubters to their test?
Right. Well, as I said earlier, I mean, even with yourself, Steve, I'm not surprised that you're doing radio right now. You have
Television.
gone back even into other lifetimes, even on over into England. Okay, so even yourself, you might feel yourself drawn to different areas of your life. And if anything, I do feel you're going to be moving forward in all areas of your life. And I do see, you know, a lot of big changes coming for you within the next 2 years. That's even going to broaden your horizons in all different sorts of areas. Right?
Well, absolutely. And what you just said seems really general.
So of course it does, right? Like, I just, you know, that's the thing on the person.
Can you go a little deeper?
Well, I mean, what I basically say depends if somebody's skeptical or not, right? Like, when I look at somebody, I'm not
skeptical. We're just doing this for the sake of the viewers.
I know. Like, I really, you know, it's funny, because I feel an animal around you very, I feel a dog. It very well could be like a medium-sized dog, border collie. It's not sitting beside you, so don't go looking for him.
Where's my cat?
Yeah.
I have a cat that's always around me, and the dogs are downstairs.
You get other types of, you know, different things around you, right? But I mean, even for yourself, really, I just felt that you've had a few years of different struggles and such like that yourself. I mean, it is, the thing is a lot of spiritual work when you're doing stuff from within the soul. A lot of it too is guidance, as well as mixing in, combination of everything of what you truly need to hear right now.
Okay.
Right.
I'm ready.
Well, no, I just, like I said, I do feel that you're going to, like, within 2 years, I really feel that you're going to broaden out completely, even into a larger station. Okay, I really feel you're going to be connecting with so many other types of communication sources, as I call it, meaning, more radio, more TV. And I see very well that you very well even might link to even be on your own show, meaning even into a station-wise, more so station. Okay.
You mean like commercial? You mean like commercial television?
Well, not, yeah, you can have commercial television, but I see you more involved in a station, like a television station.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Even having, like, how you're doing this now, right? But I even seen you even sitting down in person with somebody on a station.
Yeah, well, we're already doing that.
No,
we
I
have a cable
know,
television show.
but
yeah.
like even like in like a what do you call it? Like for instance, with me, I have my own TV show coming out on a weekly basis here soon, and I go right to the television station, right? So I see that you're going to be doing the same thing and speaking to all different types of people, but I see even more so people who what do you call it, are from your area, and I see it all topics, even more government topics as well.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Do you see me on Oprah?
No.
On the
on Oprah, like right now, today.
You don't see me on the Oprah network. Okay.
No, what I'm seeing, no, seriously, what I'm seeing is, okay, for instance, Anthony Robbins.
Uh-huh.
Okay, sitting down with people such as that, like where they're sitting right beside you, right, 2 chairs below with the big camera in front of you. I see you starting to get that going within the next couple of years. And I feel that you're going, within 6 months from now, you're even going to have more of a connection and contact to know more of what's coming up with that. We get different signs in our life with different things, right? Yeah. And it's whether or not we pay attention to it, right? Like when I have different signs of stuff, I might all of a sudden stop and think, oh, okay, that's interesting. But then I detach from it until something happens, right? But with you, I just see you being more so with that. People coming to you more physically, okay, sitting beside, like there's the big studio, and you just completely broadening out more and more and more.
Yeah, I like that. So about a year ago, I made a commitment actually on one of our shows.
Right.
That I declared my intention that I will become the male version of Oprah.
Oh, well, that's all right.
With the difference that, and this is not a judgment of Oprah. It's just an observation that what Oprah has done is developed a persona called Oprah, called the O. And to this day, nobody really knows who really Oprah is.
Right.
So the difference for me is that I will not be pretending to be
I can see that.
to be someone else. I'll just be me.
Like, you have to be yourself. Why be somebody who you're not, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It worked for Oprah. She's the richest female on the planet.
Absolutely. She deserves it too. I really like her. I love her energy. I think she's a wonderful, wonderful individual. She's done so much for many people, and even with her show, she's had such an amazing journey, and even part of her soul, it's come forth so much, and it's evolved so much. And I really feel even with her coming down here, her having her shows has really helped her move forward within her own self, within her own soul. right? The more she talks with others and hears others speak about different events that has gone in with her life, with their life, it's really truly helped her heal her life as well, right? And with yourself, right? We'll call you Mr. Next Oprah, right? That's
no,
why
I don't.
Said,
no, I don't want to be called that.
No. Right? But that's what I'm saying. Seriously, more, how she's like sitting down with chair to chair, physically beside people, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said I see you putting together something like that and getting an offer, right? And I see that broadening more and more and more, where other people are going to have you on their show.
Interesting,
right?
Fantastic.
Yes,
well,
I do. I've always felt that.
I love everything that you're saying, of course, and it's not my ego that's loving it. It's it's really my purpose. I mean, I would like to have this conversation.
And a book, sorry. Don't mean to interrupt
everywhere.
you.
A book. I'm not a writer, so I'm going to have to hire somebody.
You do not have to be a writer. You can sit there with somebody and speak into a mic, and they can write it for you. Okay?
Right.
I definitely see that going on for you. Within, what 7 years? 6 years could be published within 7.
Really? Yeah, I'm very visual and auditory. Text is not my favorite thing.
No, but people, sit down on a mic, there you go. You can tell people about your life and everything, and they can write about it. You don't have to personally write about it yourself. But that's earlier I said political, right? I won't talk politics, right? But I do see.
Yeah, please don't.
Exactly.
we don't do politics or religion on this network, and there's a reason why we don't, and some people misunderstand. And I might as well just clear that up, why we don't. Not because religion and politics couldn't use or couldn't be the conversation that we're in. It's because, in my experience, those two areas, there are so many fanatics. So it's not that I don't want to have a conversation about religion, because we had conversations about religion. I'm not willing to have guests on the show whom are religious fanatics.
Yeah, stir up the pot.
Yeah, and it's just not worth it to me. And same thing with politics.
Absolutely.
And politicians.
Absolutely. Because I was on a show before, and they were asking me political questions, and I was just floored. Right? And I just thought, no, that's one thing I won't speak about is religion and politics. But with politics, okay, how I'll bring that up again with you, because I don't see you sitting there talking politics with like a politician. I see you talking more about, let's say, politics on a spiritual type of approach, right? Like you'll know what I mean. You will like just put the information aside and just detach from it, and you'll know what I mean when it happens. It's a big difference to talk about it seriously, right, as you see on TV and that, but there's a difference when you talk about more on a spiritual evolution area. And I really feel you're going to be talking more about that.
Yeah, get it. Yeah, I feel there's huge breakdown in politics, and there's huge breakdown in religion as well, in terms of how people approach conversations, beliefs, and all sorts of things like that. Because and I spoke about this before on the network before. It's in terms of beliefs, and I'm probably going to get emails about this again, but I'm going to have to say it. My stomach tells me I need to say it.
Sometimes you do, right? Like
the best thing I feel that we could all do for ourselves is forget all the beliefs that we have, because they're not even ours. We took it on from somebody else. It's somebody else's belief that we heard, and then we took it in hook, line, and sinker.
Absolutely. I mean, the bottom line is that you've just got to be yourself. We all have our own beliefs. We all have our own journey, and It's just be who you are, and regardless of who it is, right? I mean,
okay, yeah. Here's a good question. Since we're an interactive network, Jenny, some Block TV Sky Blue is asking, how come bad things happen to good people?
Karmically, it's karma. There's a number of reasons, because it's like if I said, okay, I have a really bad feeling that I shouldn't take this job, for instance, and everything's telling me not to. So I go and I take this job, and it's a complete disaster, right? Well, then I have to take a look at myself of, okay, I was the one that made that decision, right? So we each have the choice of making a decision on all events in our life, and usually traumatic events that happen in our life, it's karmic issues that we have to clear, right? Sometimes with the traumatic experiences that we have, it's a blessing in disguise, and we don't realize it until after, right? Like if somebody, let's say if there's somebody very close to you, passed away, tomorrow you lost your job, the next day, the bank foreclosed your mortgage for whatever reason, it's a very strong message from Spirit telling you, okay, there was different signs with different things coming, and you really didn't pay attention to different signs to resolve the issue. So, it's not all about, bad things happen to bad people, not at all, none whatsoever.
Okay, so I want to rewind to the beginning of what you just said, which was, you give an example of somebody's making a decision about taking a job or not, and their intuition is telling them not to, but they do it anyway.
Yes.
Okay, so the reason I wanted to go back here, this is huge.
Yeah.
So when we are not listening to our intuition, what it says to do, what are we listening to?
Well, we're listening to our ego, we're listening to our fear, right? And again, that's why I really, really stress the point to everybody, you've got to have that alone time, because our days can get so busy that we don't have time for ourselves. We're on the go, 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 and then we just keep doing things over and over and over again, and then we realize, I'm just so unhappy with things, right? If we take that time to sit back and reflect upon our day, like every night, for instance, what I do is before I go to bed, I reflect back on my day. And, for the good and the bad of how it went. And I reflect back on, let's say, if there's certain events that happened during the day, I look at myself first, okay, to see maybe it was something I said or did. And the good things I have in my life, I bless Spirit to, and I'm very grateful for it. So I do this on a daily basis, right? I certain days, I just turn off my phone. I just need that space and time to hear my soul speak. So, and we all have intuition, but some people don't, of course they don't believe in that, so they just push it aside, and they say, oh, why does this happen? Why does that happen? So, it's all about the evolution from within our own being, to bring that forth. And so many changes have been happening in the past few years, and even this year. We've all moved into without the world ending type thing, and moving forward, right? And
that was a big disappointment to a lot of people.
I told everybody, if there's certain valuables that you don't want, just drop them over at my house, and I'll take care of it for you, right?
Yeah. So again, you said something really important, which is, who's in charge then is the ego.
Yourself.
And if it's the ego that's in charge, then that means it's the same thing as taking your car keys and giving it to somebody else to drive. We're no longer driving the car.
That's right. We're no longer in control. We have to be in control of our own lives.
And that's not good news, right?
No, it's not for others, because some people, they depend on so many other people to do things for them, to take care of them, in so many different ways. And of course we need people to help us, don't get me wrong, right? But it's just, if you're letting, let's say for instance, somebody else control you with your thoughts and how you do things, then that's something that you're going to karmically pay for, unfortunately, right? So it's, ego comes from fear. And it's all about let the fear go, surrender yourself. Again, tune into your own self. Hear what's important for you. Because if I had a decision to make, for instance, about something, I can ask certain people for advice and hear what they have to say, of course, but I have to listen to what feels better and what feels right for my own self, regardless of what anybody says, because that's when you know you're on the right track.
Right. So what you're demonstrating is that you are being responsible for
your own actions.
Right.
Yes.
And your own choices.
Yes.
And you
absolutely.
Understand the consequences of what you choose.
Yes.
Like you're not making your choices based on how do you feel in the moment, not based on your emotions.
Yes.
Not based on your reactions. Is it true in your experience that a lot of people are caught up and confused that what's running them and how they identify themselves as a being is based on very much emotions and reactions?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the emotions, of course, we're all human beings. We all have emotions because we have a heart, right? And, of course,
Do dogs have emotions?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my dogs are my life. I tell you, they really are. For any dog lovers out there, I'm a huge dog lover.
Are dogs and cats conscious?
Yes, they're very intuitive. Animals will clearly tell you many signs, many signs. I mean, even my one dog, my Irish Wolfhound McTavish. When I was over in Ireland, I couldn't walk, like I said, and the day I picked him up, like I knew I was going to get him a year before I went. I had his name picked out, and it just happened coincidentally, of course, how I ended up getting him. And it was about a 4-hour drive down to Kilkenny to pick him up over in Ireland. And I put some meditation music on, and I had him on my lap through the drive home. And the minute that I got out of the car, my feet, I didn't feel them, right? Whereas normally they're throbbing, they're very painful, it's very difficult for me to walk. I could walk him in the house and have no feeling of pain in my feet whatsoever. So there's many different animals that are here for so many reasons to help heal other people. I mean, even dogs spelled backwards is God. And even one night, this must have been about a year ago.
What's cat spelled backwards?
Yeah. Tack. Tic-tac.
Tic-tac. Okay.
Tic-tac.
So, well, that's interesting. So, your dog was in a big movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, my first dog was actually. She was in the movie High Noon, with Sybil Shepherd and the cast and crew. So, she's, as I call it, I told her I was going to get the red carpet out and get the little sunglasses on her and walk her down the carpet. I was such a proud mom. And even McTavish, my other dog, he was in the movies, actually, when I was in Ireland. Not in the movie, but on camera at a game fair.
Fantastic.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about inner voice and intuition. How... And I keep saying this on the network too, is this is an inside job. Whatever it is that we're here to do and accomplish on this planet, whatever the journey is, it's the answers to this journey is not outside of us. Like everybody's looking outside of themselves to the answers to the big question, like who am I? What am I supposed to do?
I know.
What makes my heart sing? And does people see lots of, I call them shiny objects out there? How I know this is because I've done it. I've seen lots of shiny objects. Okay, so I've been following personal development and self-growth for more than 30 years now.
Right.
And as part of that journey, I of course have had several gurus. I have done, listened to lots of tapes, done lots of seminars, read books, watched videos. I've done more than 12,000 shows, and guess what? The answers to my questions weren't in any of those things. Now, not to say that the information that I gained from all these experiences didn't make a difference in terms of who I am and who I am being. They made a huge difference. Right. But none of these things have given me the answers to these important questions until I was ready to say, it's in here, and I'm going to get it in here by going in here, and I'm going to stop looking outside. When do you think that time comes for people when they're ready to look inside? What happens when people just go, I get it?
Well, there's a few things really. I mean, first of all, we have to surrender, right? I mean, sometimes you can go from lifetime to lifetime and not ever get it. That's why we come back to keep repeating different lessons. We have to lesson, and we have to get, right? I mean, sometimes it might take some sort of a traumatic event to happen. For somebody, to have, okay, I surrender, I'm giving myself, I don't understand what's going on anymore. All these bad things keep on happening to me, and it doesn't matter what age you're at. It comes at any time. When that person is truly, truly ready, they'll know when they're ready to move forward, right? And you can be, 5 years old, you could be 90 years old. There's no such thing as time and space, right? So, somebody says, well, I'm just going to go on a spiritual journey to some ashram or to India or to this guru or that, and that person's going to change my life, right? We can all go to somebody for guidance and love and help and counseling, of course. However, the source has to come from within, right? The guru is within your own being. So again, it's all about listening to your own soul speak, right? And sometimes it could take a different event. It could take a person, it could take anything to spark something. Just even reading a book, even one sentence in a book can really, download into opening up your eyes for something that's happened, a death, a divorce, a loss of a job, anything, right? And it's all about, even myself, for instance, if I'm in a situation where I'm like, okay, I'm not sure how to go ahead with this or that, and it's like, okay, I can't hear myself speak, I can't hear myself think, I don't know what to do, then I'm like, okay, I haven't had enough space and time alone to hear myself really think and hear my soul speak, right? And I can go to other people and ask them and ask them and ask them, and that's good and all, but I still have to hear it from within my own self. So it could come at any time. And I always ask every day for certain situations, Spirit, please give me some guidance. I need your assistance. I need your help. I'm not sure which direction to go or what decision to make if I still can't hear myself think. So I tell you one thing, they do give me signs, whether if I like it or not, right? Because the truth hurts, right? And that's the thing. People don't like the truth. If somebody comes to me, for instance, and they say, I've just met my soulmate.
Well,
right?
Yeah, I'd say that the truth will piss you off first.
Yes, yeah.
And then it will set you free.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell people, don't ever attach to anything, right? You can have somebody say, oh, you're going to meet this person and blah, blah, and they attach to that situation so tightly, it doesn't happen because they're so attached to that situation that everything that's supposed to happen in between doesn't happen because they're not looking at reality. They have their veil on, as I call it. It's like take off those dark sunglasses, start seeing things, walking forward.
Yeah.
And when you have attachments, you don't see clarity.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the signs also for me is, and you touched on it really well, when people go to their friends and family for advice,
right,
that's a sign well, the first sign is that they're confused.
Yes.
The second sign is that they are not willing to be responsible for what the truth is within themselves.
Yes.
Because it's there.
Right. Yeah.
So instead of doing that, they rather spend the time and energy to go get feedback from the friends, their good friends, and their family, which I know you said that that's great, but I say that's not great.
No, I know, but we can, you know what? We can hear others' advice if need so. But it's like I could hear 100 different advices, but I have to listen to what's right for me.
Yeah, exactly. So all those people, I just want the viewers to be clear and understand that all those people that are going to give you advice and feedback, they're going to do it from their own mindset,
own perspective,
and own life experience,
yes,
which is not yours.
No, because that's the thing. You know, people like to run to somebody because they think that person is going to wave a magic wand to set them free, and that's not how it works, right? I mean, if anything, it can be more damaging than anything. It just really depends on the person and the situation, because especially when people are ready to move on more of a spiritual path, and if their, let's say, family and friends are not used to that, or they don't know them in that perspective, it can be a really, really lonely road for that person, because, you know, the last thing is I'm not going to defend who I am. I'm not going to defend what I've said, what I've done, because this is me, take it or leave it. And if you can't accept me for who I am, I'll walk the other direction regardless if you're my family or my friend. That's just me. And a lot of, you know, it is, I'm serious. Right?
No,
and
I get it.
Yeah,
the example
absolutely.
I usually give, let me just add something to that. So the example I usually give is, a lot of people like sports and can relate to sports. So there is no points for defense.
Right.
Please notice, I don't care what game you look at, if you're in a defensive position, you don't get no points.
That's right.
The only time you get points is when you are in action and in offense.
Yes. I know.
Yeah.
And it's to do things from your heart. Right. I mean, I always tell everybody, you've got to speak from your heart and soul. You've got to be honest about certain situations, right?
How do people do that, Jenny? How do people connect to their hearts and then connect their hearts to their head?
It takes time. It's a lot of work. I mean, to walk on listening to your heart and soul, it depends, firstly, when that person is ready to do so. Second of all, are you ready to seriously make those changes? And it can be a very, very lonely road. You know, that's why I brought it up earlier, because when you're ready to make those conscious decisions to move forward and clear things, it's like, okay, I'm tired of having my life like this or that, regardless, relationship, job, anything. It's like, that's it. I'm making these changes. And if it involves other people not accepting me making those choices, then that's an issue they personally have to work out with. It has nothing to do with myself, right? Because when I look at somebody, when I'm with somebody, I look at them first from within, who they are, who their soul is, where their heart is, right? And I take it from that point on, because if somebody has a closed heart and they have no willingness whatsoever to make any changes, it's a waste of my time and their time. Right? I mean, I always do my best to try to help somebody to move forward, and I will purposely hit a few buttons with somebody, you know, in order for them to heal so many different events in their life that they've blocked out.
Mm.
Right?
So, Jenny, how do you live in a world where a lot of people's hearts are closed?
Well, actually, a lot of people I know, their heart is open. You know, I mean, it's a law of attraction, right? But I mean, it's of course too, if that person's heart is closed, I do everything I can to try to open it, and the reason their heart is closed.
Yeah, hang on, Jenny. I always get the same answer, and this is of course people that are in the industry that we're in. I understand that we all attract people that are open, they have their hearts open, and they are awake and conscious.
Yes.
However, we all have to go out into the world, go to the grocery store, go to get gas, go to do all these other things. And are you saying to me and to the viewers that regardless of where you go,
yes,
everybody that you meet, their hearts are open?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so my question was, let me go back. So don't give me the same response you gave me before, because I understand who we attract.
Yeah.
I'm specifically asking, being who you are, which is magnificent, and it's beautiful. I can feel and see your energy.
Oh, thank you.
When you go out into a world that isn't made up of the same energy all the time, I mean, you're going to see it out there, but you're going to see a lot of the opposites. I mean, come on. I actually had a very quiet Block TV chat room today.
Right.
And I'm experiencing, and maybe it has to do with you as well, that you brought the calmness, you brought the energy into the space. But I can tell you, yesterday we had a number of shows where I had to deal with a lot of people that are vulgar, nasty. They will say, they will cut somebody down in a second.
Right.
Okay? And that's life.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I mean, when I go out, for instance, okay, if I went to the grocery store, got some milk, was at the cashier, and the cat, well, it's like you can read into somebody right away anyways, right? Like for me, it's just natural, okay? And if I can clearly see that person's heart is closed, they're having a bad day, I might just say something to that person to brighten their day up, because nobody likes to have a bad day. Nobody likes to walk around with their heart closed regardless. There's obviously issues and pain issues, right? But I might just look at that person and, just say, I really hope you have a wonderful day. You look fantastic. I'll compliment that person one way or another. Like I'll read into their energy and I'll really see what that person needs to hear to help them. Whether if it's just to put a smile on their face or anything, right? And just something you say, for instance, it can completely change that person's life in so many different ways, right? You can say something and they might look at you and give you the finger, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, but it just really depends on a circumstance, right? I mean, I ran into somebody, I was actually horrified with what happened a couple of weeks ago when I was at Christmas time, actually, and one of the clerks there, he finally came out and he told his foster parent that he was gay, and she threw him out immediately. And if I would have had the cameras with me, I would have brought him immediately on my show, because I won't put up with that. And when my show does get up and running, I'm meeting with my producer tonight so we can film the pilot. I'm going to bring him on my show. And, if he's willing, I mean, I'll put him right on. If not, I'll block him out, of course, and I'll speak my mind about, you cannot treat people like this. How dare you throw this person out on the street? For him coming out finally and admitting who he truly is, right? Like I have no patience for people like that, and sometimes I'll just kind of walk away with it, and sometimes I won't. And if I could read into that and take a look at, no, this needs to be heard, I'll do something about it. So also on my show, I'm going to be bringing different people like that on my show and helping them move forward, and so many different ways.
Well,
right?
Actually, I feel that coming out and being gay these days are the popular thing to do. And we're actually going to have our first show. Right. And I probably say this wrong.
It's from your heart, Steve, okay?
Yeah.
So, right?
But we're going to have the first show on the network after 9 years that's going to be all about the gay community. Yeah. And it's going to be called The Darling Show, and it starts in March. And I'm really looking forward to it, because it's a conversation. You know how we say that well, in America, we don't have, we don't, because we all have all these laws
Right.
that, everybody's welcome everywhere, irregardless of race, color. But you know what?
Absolutely.
That's not true.
I know.
That's not true.
I
Because
know.
I lived in the South, and I know from personal experience
Mm-hmm.
what's really going on.
Yes.
We still prejudiced. I mean,
Right.
a lot of people still are.
Right.
And just because there is all these conversations in the media and everywhere else about gays and gay marriages and
Right.
whatever the president says about it, a lot of people are still very prejudiced
Yes.
and can't handle the conversation.
That's right. That's right. And that's something
So
they
I'm-
have to work through.
Yeah,
Right.
so I'm very much looking forward to the Darling
Yeah.
Show starting on
That's
the first
fantastic.
week of
Good for you.
March.
Good for
There you
you.
go.
That's excellent. Good for you. And that's so important, and that's so true. A lot of people get judged immediately, because of it could be how they look, their color, their race, religion, what sex really they choose, and it's insane. And 2012 to 2013, it's been happening for a while. The evolution has been changing with the consciousness for quite some time, and if people aren't going to start to lift up to the higher level of consciousness, they're the ones that are going to suffer. Right? The higher level
Right.
consciousness people are the ones that are going to excel and move forward. And we have to accept people for who they truly are from their heart and not look at somebody and judge them, because you truly don't know who that person is. Right? You could look at somebody and judge them for whatever reason you want. You don't know their journey. You don't know what journey they've had in this lifetime. Right? Somebody can sit there and put a smile on their face and laugh, but that person can be in a lot of pain. And they hide it. A lot of comedians, for instance, I have a few of them as my client actually, and a lot of them, the reason why they're comedians is because they're trying to run from their pain. So they joke about different things, especially when they start making jokes about themselves, because it's a way for them to try to heal certain issues from within themselves. So different careers, different life choices, it really says a lot about certain things.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I never,
it's so
I
true.
never thought.
Yeah, just like yourself.
I would think, although it does make sense. So people that are in the business of comedy,
Right.
I would think that they would have a challenge with the opposite, which is sadness,
Right.
being sad, being alone.
Right.
Yeah. That does make sense. And
Yeah.
so they've been, running away all
Right.
their lives from being
Yeah.
sad and being lonely.
Right.
So they do the opposite.
Yeah. And I even personally, as myself too, find, and I'm not saying this about everybody, okay, but I have a lot of clients who are very wealthy, like very well off. A lot of them are very sad. Very sad. So they continue to work 24 hours a day to run and not deal with personal issues, not business issues, but personal issues that have happened to them this lifetime. So they're very lonely and very sad. Right?
Wow.
I'm not saying that about everybody, don't get me wrong, but there's just so many reasons why people choose different careers for themselves.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah. I was even working
Right,
at a
so-
hospice for a while. Helping other people and such.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
Yeah, it was actually, and the challenge was not when somebody passed away, because I could see that they're at peace. It was the families and the friends that you had to console and help and spiritually work with, and just let them know that you're there for them and give them a hug. You just really see what that person needs. So I was there for about a year. They asked me to come back a few times, but I'm just, of course, very busy right now on a different road.
Yeah. Okay, so believe it or not, we're coming to the end of the show, so
Yep.
I'd like to give you a few minutes to talk about how our live viewers, as well as the people that are going to be watching the archived shows, would get a hold of you, get to your website, and
Okay.
is there anything that's going on with your practice right now that you would like to call special attention to?
Okay. Well, my website is www.soulworkwithjeni.com. You can get in touch with me that way. I'm also on Twitter at soulworkwithjen. Feel free to follow me there. I'm on Facebook under Jeni Cousins, Jeni Cousins, and I'm also going to be hosting a weekly television show here in Calgary called Soul Work with Jen, and it's going to be a program where viewers call in and they can ask me questions. And I've also just recently chosen a co-host as well who is a healer. And one of my other goals, I've been writing a book for quite some time, and eventually in due time, I'm going to get a camera crew and do some traveling and interview people like the Dalai Lama and spiritual people like that. So I've got a few things on the go right now, and I mean, I just take things one day at a time, because you don't know what one day will hold, what one phone call will take. And, you know, you live with the now. It's so important. So do phone readings, guidance, soul work.
I'll second that. So did this feel like an hour?
No, it didn't actually. It felt like 10 minutes. You know, it was absolutely wonderful, right. And I'm very honored and very grateful for you asking me to be on the show. It was just, you know, I was very, very moved by that.
Yeah, same, Jeni. And this is actually proof to our viewers that time is really an illusion.
Yes.
When we're able to live in the now, in the moment, and connect with our hearts, and in this case I connected with Jeni's, time disappears. Truly, it disappears.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same effect.
No.
When we, of course, live in our past and live in the future.
Yeah.
So the past is the past. It doesn't matter. It's gone. You can't do anything about it. And the future hasn't happened yet. So what's left? Why do we call it present? Because it is like a present.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we learn from our past, right? I you know, let people know, you know, of course we have issues and things from our past, but that's all about what the soul work is about, to really work through those, you know, emotional issues and things that we don't understand, to come to terms with the now. So it's one step forward, one day at a time, and don't be hard on yourself, right? You know, there is help out there, and that's what I find. A lot of people truly don't have anybody to speak to about what's really going on with their life in all areas. And that's what I do. I really help that person. I read into their consciousness to see what level energetically they're at, and I speak from on an understanding to, you know, help them understand, right? I'm not going to speak big spiritual terms and words to somebody who doesn't understand it, right? So I work with them on their level, and one step forward. You know, we're all humans. We're all here, you know, to work through you know, issues and karmic issues that we have to clear to move forward. Life's a journey. It's not a destination. It's so true. So true.
Yes, and all we're doing is having experiences.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeni. You were fantastic.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you for being on Conscious Evolution Media. And I look forward to interacting with you in the future, and maybe even I get to watch your TV show somehow.
Absolutely. You'll be going to Europe too, by the way. You've got that energy European all around you.
Okay, well, I was born in Europe.
Oh, were you? Okay, well there you go.
Yes, and I do like Europe a lot.
Yeah, you'll go back.
That's good news. Good news. Yeah. Thank you. All right, everybody, have a fantastic afternoon. We have 3 more shows coming up. The next one is right after this one, hosted by James McPartland, the Unopened Gift Show. So don't go anywhere. We're just going to have a couple of minutes of a break, and then just stay with us for the rest of the day. I mean, what else are you going to do? Watch commercial TV? Okay. Thank you, Jeni. See you guys. Love you. See you next week. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Today's podcast is brought to you by ObesityHotline.com, the silent killer, providing support and encouragement in the prevention of this rising epidemic. Featuring the Body by Vi Challenge. Is there a quick answer to the question? Go to www.obesityhotline.com.
You're watching and listening to Conscious Evolution Media, shifting global consciousness at consciousevolutionmedia.com.